We're looking back at 24 years of Oakdale over the decades as we bring you the very last edition of Oakdale Update. Welcome to Oakdale Update. I've been welcoming viewers to this show for more than 24 years.
Hello, and welcome to Oakdale Update. I'm your host, Frank Orsello.
Frank Orsello. Frank Orsello. Frank Orsello. Frank Orsello. And now I welcome you for the very last time. It's been an exciting journey bringing you the latest news from the city of Oakdale. But what has made this experience so meaningful is the people, our guests. We've had many memorable conversations. A lot of times it felt like I was talking with old friends here on set, and many of them were.
Joining us first is Mayor Carmen Serac, who was just re-elected. Mayor, thanks for joining us today on Oakdale Update.
Thank you, Frank. Pleasure to be here.
Mayor Serac, thanks for joining us on Oakdale Update.
No, thank you, Frank, for having me.
Mayor, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Frank. It's a pleasure being here.
Ted Berth is known as Mr. Summerfest. Ted,
Good
thank you for joining us today.
Good afternoon, Frank.
Mr. Summerfest himself, Ted Berth. Ted, thanks for joining us today.
Good to be here, Frank.
Let's see, this is probably about the 200th time I've interviewed for one thing or another, right?
At least one of us is getting old. I'm not sure which one.
It's not me. Years ago I quit getting old.
No.
So it's got to be you, Ted.
Is President Larry Eberhardt. Larry, thank you for coming today.
Thanks very much, Frank.
Tell me, Larry, how long have you been the president of the Business Association?
I'm now joined by Oakdale resident Larry Eberhardt. Larry, thank you for joining us on Oakdale Update.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, Frank.
It's been a lot of years, hasn't it?
It has been a lot of years. You and I talked a little bit about it, that I think I first started coming to your shop when I was in high school.
In high
maybe?
school, so that's got to be 70.
Graduated from Tartan in '81, so it was a little bit before that. So,
Yeah, so
40,
9. Oh,
40 some years, yes.
Yeah, geez. Well, our friendship has lasted a pretty long time, huh? That's interesting.
We're going to continue our conversations with City Council members now with Stan Kowalski. Stan was just elected to the 2-year City Council seat. Stan, thanks for joining us on Oakdale Update.
Thanks, Frank. Glad to be here.
Stan, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks, Frank.
With me in the studio today is our new mayor, Stan Kowalski. Stan, thanks for joining us on Oakdale Update.
Thank you, Frank.
First of all, I want to congratulate you on winning the election. I know you worked hard. You were out putting signs up and meeting and greeting people.
Right.
And it looked like it worked, didn't it?
No, thank you. It's an honor, a privilege. I'm really humbled to be mayor of Oakdale.
Paul, thank you for joining us on Oakdale Update.
Well, you're welcome, Frank. I appreciate the invitation.
We've got a lot to talk about.
I've been fortunate to be able to serve on the council for 3 terms. This is my 3rd term.
Mr. Mayor, thank you for joining us on Oakdale Update.
Hello again, Frank. It's sure great to be back again.
Yes, it is. You've been here probably 10 times at least, wouldn't you reckon?
Over the last 20 years of
Yeah,
service,
absolutely. Honest
which
to
is
God.
hard to believe.
Honest
but,
to be, yeah.
I've always enjoyed this and appreciate the invitation.
Well, it's always good to have the mayor. And I've had, 3-4 mayors now, because, Okay, if you've watched the show, I always come prepared with a list of questions. But I usually begin from the beginning. Do you want to give us a little bit of your background? What's your background? Could you give us just a little background about yourself?
Let's start out with having you give us a little bit of your background. Let's start out with your background. Why don't you give us a little bit of your background?
Give me a little bit of your background. Give us a little background about yourself. Give me a little bit of your background. Give me a little bit of your background. And even though you nearly always found me here on set, I did leave the studio from time to time. Take a look.
We're on location today at the Commemorative Air Force Museum in South St. Paul. We're at the Oak Marsh Golf Course for the Education and Arts Open.
This month, we are coming to you from the Minnesota State Capitol.
This month, we're coming to you from the Oakdale City Hall.
And here I am with Craig Waldron. He's such a busy guy, it's hard to catch up to him at any given time, but I did today.
We are on location this month at the Commemorative Air Force Museum in South St. Paul.
Here we are in the office of Senator Chuck Wigger. He has agreed to join us on Oakdale Update. Chuck, thanks for joining us.
Well, welcome to the Capitol, Frank.
Thank you. I've always been prepared with a script, but there was one time when I was left, well, speechless. With me today to talk more about the Oakdale Area Business Showcase are Bill Burns and Jody Christensen, who are both board members of the Oakdale Area Chamber of Commerce. Jody and Bill,
Hi, Frank.
thanks for joining me.
Hello, Frank.
Thanks for having us.
Well, it was my pleasure. I had to pull a lot of strings to get you two here, but
Sure
it
you
did
did.
work.
Really? Thanks. Thanks.
So I'm going to start out. I always start out by asking, get a little bit of your background. But
Okay.
Jody, I've interviewed you so many times. I know your background.
Okay.
You were born and raised in Oakdale. You went to high school in Oakdale, grade school, high
Okay.
school, and you stayed here. And then you got a job at Lake Elmo Bank,
Right.
and you were vice president in charge of
Right.
something. And then you've been here, and you've never in your life left Oakdale. Is that correct?
That's right. But you know what, Frank?
What?
Today is not about me or the showcase.
It is.
It is about Frank Orsello. We
What?
are doing This Is Your Life, Frank Orsello.
Well, so
So-
sit back and just enjoy.
That's right. So
Here we
here we go. The viewers may not know much about you, so let's talk about you and why you are doing what you're doing, and what about you would you like them to know?
Are you?
Come on, Frank.
Here's
You
where we
can
go.
do it. We have a special guest here today. I think our mayor is here.
No.
I think we need to maybe take a break.
For God's sake.
There he
comes.
is.
What is
Yeah.
going on? That's
We have a special honor.
Hello, Frank.
There is our
Mr.
mayor,
Mayor. How
Paul
are you?
Ranke.
Nice to see you.
Paul, nice to see you.
So this
Go
is
right
okay.
ahead.
Can I just
Yeah,
The time is
butt
yours.
in?
There we go.
absolutely.
interview? But truly, it's an honor to be able to present to you a plaque that recognizes the work that you've done. I don't know if this is being picked up on the mics, but nonetheless, let me read it for you. And it's truly a privilege too, because you do bring a great sense of humor to your show. You bring a ton of knowledge. You have a way with people that make it very informative. And your involvement in the community has been one of the things that has always been I've admired. And so this is with a great honor that I get to say to you that on behalf of the city, I'm proud to recognize Frank Orsello for his outstanding service to the community as a factual, informative, and entertaining host of the Oakdale Update Show since 1998. And it's signed by myself and Mark Landis, Councilmember Lori Polkerbeck, Councilmember Bill Rasmussen, and Councilmember Kevin Zabel.
Jeez Louise, who put this together?
There we go.
Mr. Mayor, I
Yay.
appreciate that so much.
Oh, Frank, you so deserve this.
Yes, sir. Very cool.
Yeah,
Very
you are
cool.
Mr. Oakdale. You really are, and I mean that in the nicest sense, because you just are. You know, our late Ted Berth, who we all loved, and I think that probably was a title for him. I would put you right up there, and just making such a difference in our community. And thank you for everything that you do.
Jeez.
And it's been an honor to interview you today. And boy, your job's pretty
Way
easy,
to
actually.
go.
Well,
This is where you just segue right to a commercial
Yeah.
or something.
what do we
too.
do? Where are we at here? All the things I had planned for today and everything, I was going to interview
Yeah.
you guys and these,
Yeah.
these other people that
Yeah.
never showed up.
No.
Well, who put this? Who did this?
I think Jody had a lot to do with this one.
It doesn't matter. We all love you. Everyone that gets to work with you on a daily basis, and people in the community, and between your customers and your family, and you have so many people that care about you. And yes, you will need a big auditorium someday when you go, but I don't want to talk about that again.
Well, I got it all set up with John. We need a big.
Stop talking
big
about
area.
that.
No,
So,
John.
anyway.
John Larson is
Yeah.
going to take care of
Yeah.
everything.
I love you.
Well, you people, I am so appreciative of this. It's just, what can I say? I want to thank everybody. I appreciate this. You know, sometimes you go along thinking nobody even knows you exist,
Yeah.
but you guys,
You
I'm
put
just.
that up in your shop because everybody
I will.
deserves to
Oh
see
my
it.
God,
So,
absolutely.
all right. Thanks, Frank.
Mr. Mayor, Jody,
All right.
Bill.
Do a great
love you
thing.
all.
We love you too. Yep.
Okay, I think we got a break now.
Okay. We'll let you break.
Wait.
Oh.
Wait. That's all we have time for this month's Oakdale Update.
For everyone at the City of Oakdale, thanks for watching.
I was nearly speechless when the city recognized me recently at their council meeting with, of all things, a video of me. Take a look.
That's all we have for this month. Join us again next month for another edition of Oakdale Update. For everyone at the City of Oakdale, thanks for watching.
That was great. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Frank, if I may, I'd like to read a little bit.
Sure.
When I come down, I've got an award that we'd like to present to you.
Okay.
So Frank Orsello, you began as the host of Oakdale Update in May of 1998. Little did he know that he would continue to host the show for 24 years. Frank has become a trusted source for sharing the news, the events, and stories of Oakdale and its residents. With a calm demeanor and a recognizable voice, Frank is known citywide, in fact, metro-wide. Over the years, he has interviewed each elected official at the city, county, and state levels, in addition to city staff and local residents with interesting stories to share. So on behalf of the City of Oakdale and our community, we'd like to recognize and thank Frank Orsello for 24 years of hosting the Oakdale Update Show. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
So in recognition of 24 years, 1998 through 2022, as the host of the Oakdale Update Show, thank you for your dedication and service to the City of Oakdale and its residents. And that's Frank Orsello. So, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. There have been so many wonderful guests over the years. I wish we could revisit every interview, but then we'd be here until the end of 2030. But two guests who must be mentioned are the World War II veterans we had in studio in 2001. These two men shared a lot during that hour-long interview, but a couple of remarkable takeaways have left an indelible impression.
For our final segment, World War II veterans Harold Curvers and Alf Larson join me to discuss their experiences in the Pacific during World War II. They are both survivors of the Bataan Death March and their imprisonment by the Japanese. Gentlemen, thank you for coming back.
You're welcome.
Okay, Alf, I'd like to ask you a question. What, of all your experiences, what was the absolute worst that you experienced during your captivity?
I think the worst experience was the second time when the escape was, and I was in that hellhole thing for 7 days. I didn't think I would survive that one.
Were you delirious and passing out and all that?
No, I wasn't delirious, but I was very weak. In fact, when they did open up the door and tell me I was free, they had to carry me back. I couldn't walk. Mm-hmm. And the Japanese, they left me alone for a couple of days, which was good.
Mm-hmm. And Harold, how about you? What was your absolute worst experience?
Ships.
The ships?
The 49 days of hell.
Okay.
It was the absolute worst of my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
What exactly about the ships?
The bombing, the starving, the packed in. You've seen guys going berserk. That was, that's etched into your brain. I think almost every guy that's survived that will say the same thing. In fact, some of the guys that were on the march that went to Japan, almost to a man, they will say the ships were worse going up there.
Mm-hmm.
We all can learn so much about history and life from our veterans. I could go on and on, but remember, many previous episodes of Oakdale Update can be found on YouTube if you'd like to watch full shows and interviews. And with that said, I'd like to say a few final words. Before I sign off, there are two people I especially want to thank for making this show a success. The first is Sue Berry from the City of Oakdale. She was my go-to girl. She and I would come up with potential guests through news articles or hearing about some local notable person. We tried to stay within the Oakdale, Washington County area. Sue would do all the background research on the person and give me the information, and I would come up with the questions. The other person is my producer at SCC TV, Mary Klein. Mary, as well as photographer Lou Lee, are the two who made the technical magic happen. I had guests from all walks of life, from politicians to city, county, and state workers. I can't tell you how much I enjoyed doing this show. I learned a lot and met some fascinating people. And so I say one last time, for everyone at the City of Oakdale, thanks for watching. Actually, we started on the studio out on Stillwater Road.
We're coming to you from the Oakdale City Hall because Government Television Network is putting the finishing touches on their studio in a new location. Judge, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So here we are, last time around. Can you imagine, 24 years I've been doing this?
There he is!
Hey!
Man of the hour!
There's my girl, she's been blue too.
Hi, I told you I'd be wearing blue.
Well. Dan, thanks for joining us on Oakdale Update.
Thanks, Frank.
Let's give us a little background on yourself. Lori, thanks for joining us on Oakdale Update.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Okay, now you're into your second second term of a 4-year term.
Correct.
I had guests from all walks of life, from politicians to city, county, and state workers. I can't tell you how much I enjoyed doing this show. I learned a lot and met some fascinating people.
Are we ready to go? Oh, we have another chair. We have a guest chair. Jane, thanks for joining us on Oakdale Update.
Well, thank you for the invitation.
Let's, how long have you been on the tree board?
Oh, gee, longer than I should. Probably almost 10 years.
City Manager Craig Waldron joins us now to give us an update. Craig, thanks for joining us on Oakdale Update.
Thank you for having me. Good to be here, Frank.
This is so traumatic, I tell you. This is so traumatic. I'm telling you, I just love doing this show, and I just hate to see it go. I knew I wouldn't make it through.